Here we are in week 6. I'm a little sad today. Actually, I'm really sad. I feel like I've just been punched in the back of the kidney. I can't make fun of people this week. I mean, it's going to be really hard. Real hard. Like Viagra commercial hard. But we'll get past it. Ridgeway, you are going to be safe this week. Maybe. No, you won't. So, the rumors were true. There's a special guest this evening. He once replaced me in a baseball game, if you can believe that. The only time I've ever come out of a baseball game, this man replaced me. Without further ado, he's a brand new manager, taking over for the worst team in the league, Jason Leg Sweep Lampy. Oh, you brought a friend?
I didn't realize that Simpson gives you those for consolation prizes.
They do. I know he's so shiny and so bright.
Well, we should cover up Andre, although he did finally do something this week, so...
He did.
Maybe we'll just...
Perfect.
Remind yourself of what you used to be.
Pat myself on the back.
Yeah.
Rub my head down.
That's
Jason,
gorgeous.
how are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Welcome to the league.
Thank you.
You seem a little jumpy. You just noticing the...
I kind of feel like I'm in my little brother's room from 6th grade.
Sure. I can understand that. There's pictures of boy bands on the wall and athletes on this wall.
Who didn't love NSYNC, though?
I mean, JT. Woo-woo. So, Jason, before we begin, I got some questions for you. You come into the league, you take over a team that has been perennially garbage. I mean, we just kick them while it's down. You're actually the third manager to take over for this team. What were your expectations coming in?
Coming in, I knew I was going to be dealt a shorthand. I didn't have a sweet keeper that I've had for 18 years or whatever you guys have been doing.
Well, I mean, Julio Jones has been pretty good for you.
He has been helpful. I really want to,
He's not LaShawn McCoy.
Well, I mean, McCoy was taken. I probably would have ate that bullet, too. Toby Gerhardt has more points than he does.
I'm getting really close. I'm getting close.
He's going to break out. But Julio's been great. Great guy.
He is.
Wonderful.
He's getting over that foot injury. He spends so much time in the community. He's just a great guy. I'm glad you kept him.
He earned it. He's earned the right to do it. I felt like he was going to come back. And to be perfectly honest, really, who else was I going to keep? I don't even know what was the name of the guy who I took over. It really doesn't matter because fantasy, he's irrelevant when it comes to fantasy.
You're right. But I mean, you've already got more wins just in the first 5 weeks than the team has combined in like the last 2 years.
Well, we took some chances on draft day. I feel like some of these things have worked out. I don't know when I'm going to give up on Bishop Sankey.
Okay.
I don't even know what the hell a Bishop Sankey is. I think was it Brandon that asked that question at the draft day? But,
Matthew Berry is really high on him. He said last week was a breakout week.
He gets over that crap with his footwork, we'll be okay. I don't even know what that means.
I mean, footwork's important when you're doing the salsa. When you two-step.
That might be it. Maybe he needs to watch more Dance with the Stars.
Footwork is very important. So, as a new manager, you're talking about your draft day needs and approach. Are you more of a ground attack guy, or do you like to air it out more?
Generally speaking, I've always been more of an air attack guy.
Okay.
And coming in the league with the 5 flex spots, I felt like, let's take some chances with the receivers. The receivers are kind of hit or miss, but in this league, I just felt like the running backs, you can't rely on him either every week anymore.
Nope.
I had DeAndre, who would be somewhere over here.
Nah, he
disappeared last night.
He's not good enough for this wall.
So, I mean, you got to take some chances, especially when I chose to draft last and, with a receiver right away. So I went pretty heavy on the ground game, which is unusual for what I normally do. But
you got to go with the guaranteed touches when you can.
Hopefully, we've seen some success, but we've also, a lot of it had to do with everybody really sucking when they play me. Mm-hmm. I like the really good fantasy defense.
Yeah. I didn't hear the last part that you just said. I feel like I had some quidbits about past leagues, but I didn't really catch what you said, so it might
I'm
sound
sorry.
stupid.
Well, when you brought me in and you asked me, you're like, this league's really interactive. Everyone likes to get on the forums and talk shit and...
Sure.
Excuse my language, by the way.
No, that's
I'm
totally
sorry.
cool. Emma, if you watch this later, I apologize for his language. It's just, when you get in the cave, the black hole, it just happens. I'm sorry.
I think Tim Brown wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I mean, now that you say we need those touches, Andre's been failing us, so next week or the week after, we might see a return of Tim Brown.
I'm all for it.
He showed up once last year. It didn't really go very well, but he's making a comeback.
Point being, though, I'm a little disappointed in the involvement of the rest of the league.
You and me both,
I think, what is it, 4 people have actually communicated on the message boards? I'm not counting Mario's cut and paste job from last week.
Sure.
But, I don't know, maybe Reggie just can't reach the keys because he's so short, but I'm not 100% sure.
You know what? I enjoy a good short joke. That was good. I liked it. Short jokes never get old, Matt. I don't know if you've noticed the actual height discrepancy between me and Jason here at the table.
Keep in mind, Reggie would be...
under the table.
Does he hit the table?
I mean, I'm actually 3 inches shorter than Jason. You wouldn't know it, I like to consider myself the Jay Leno of fantasy football previews. I like to sit up high.
It's a confidence issue.
Talk down to my guests.
I really feel like you're compensating for something.
I mean, I'm trying to make up for last year's record. So.
What'd you win? 3?
Yeah.
2?
3.
I won 3 on my first 4.
I lost to your team last year. He had 0 wins, and I was his only win.
I will give props to everybody in the league that fleeced the hell out of that guy, because he obviously didn't know what he was doing. And while we're talking about bad trades, can I just go ahead and get this off my chest?
Fleecing. It is that time of winter.
I get it, guys. You want Giovanni Bernard, but please give me something more than a hack, a has-been, and an injured player, right? Real trades.
Who would send you such things?
I don't feel like I'm comfortable enough with everybody in the league yet to start name-dropping, but we all know who it is.
Brandon. Hero. Matt? Close enough.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Okay, we'll go with that. Now, before we get into some previews, Jason, got some questions to ask you. We'll go a little rapid fire. We'll see if we can get some guys to know who you are better. Maybe throw you off your game a little bit here.
Bring it.
First question. If you could go to one concert only, who would it be?
Nickelback?
Okay, fair enough. I feel like I should kick you out of the league now, just based on that answer, but...
I got a thing for Canadians. Bryan Adams?
We'll move on. I mean, I'd go to Bruno Mars, for sure. I like him. I like me some Moonshine Gorillas. If you could follow one person on Twitter, who would it be?
What's Twitter?
I don't know. I thought you knew. I mean, I hear athletes on the radio talking about, I'm tweetering. Tweeters?
Tweeting?
Is that something your speaker makes it louder?
Maybe you have to turn down the treble.
Oh, probably.
It's because it's all about the bass.
Ooh. See, I like what you did there. High five. I like it. Your favorite Iowa team, 2002 Iowa football or 2006 basketball?
It's got to be football. I don't follow basketball.
Okay.
Can I throw something else in there?
Sure, go
How
ahead.
about any of the Iowa wrestling teams in the 90s?
Okay. Well, that brings me actually to my next rapid fire question. You just had a boy recently.
Mm-hmm.
If you could have him, everything perfect world, would you rather him play football, basketball, or wrestling? Wow.
Wrestling.
I didn't even finish the question.
We don't acknowledge basketball in my family. Don't get me wrong, I'm a diehard Hawks fan, so I'm going to follow them, and I hope that all the best, but we don't acknowledge basketball. I'm terrible at it. My son's going to be fairly small. We're going to I wanted to line his crib with the wrestling mat, but my wife...
Now, I did catch that. Is he going to be smaller than Ridgway, or is he going to be...
Oh, no. I mean, he'll be thin for a little bit, but eventually he's going to grow.
Sure.
6th grade? 7th grade?
Okay.
Maybe?
Sure. I mean, he's already taller than Landon, for sure. I mean,
oh, God.
He's got to be.
He's only 4 months, but he's close.
I mean, he's getting that, getting that intake, get that milk, get that protein.
Yeah. No, we're a wrestling family, and, I won't push him, but I coach wrestling and everything, so I assume he'll follow.
Sure. Now, last question. If you could spend 1 week anywhere in the world, no phones, if you want, nobody has to be there, could just be you, where would it be?
I would find a secluded lake and just sit in a cabin But none of this no weight crap. I'm sorry, I gotta get a boat or a jet ski and something opening up.
Just tear it up.
You know what? Something where just like the deck on the patio, just sitting out watching the lake. I don't need anything else but that.
Yep. I knew I liked this guy. That's why he's in this league, because he's cool.
And you couldn't find anybody else. And we're kind of related.
Red-handed. You caught me.
And I had the ping pong machine.
Now see, now you're just going and rubbing it in my face. Just rubbing my nose in it. Well, thank you for joining me this evening. If you'd like, I'd like you to stick around and we can go over some previews here.
I would love to.
Do you need a phone book or something?
We
could call Matt, and he's got a special one made. Little booster.
Does Matt have a booster chair around here somewhere?
Mm-hmm. Right. It's in the closet.
I'm alright.
That's where we keep it. Alright, well fine. Let's get to some previews. I really haven't been doing very good at not bashing tonight, have I?
I don't think you bashed enough.
Enough?
You know these people, I don't.
Well, this is true. I did promise that I would not bash this night. We'd just go straight preview. I'm trying. Real hard. Real hard.
Somebody should.
Let's get it started. First matchup, we have 2-3, 0-who. I mean, it's real confusing now, Kyle, that you've actually won some games. I mean, you've won 2 weeks in a row. It's good, keep it up. But you're going to go up against 3-2, the commish.
Has he paid his dues? Maybe he's owing you.
He might. Kyle's pretty good at, paying it before.
He did talk a lot in the draft.
He did. Well, I mean, it could have just
pretty drunk though.
Could have just been the beer bubbles coming out of the bottom of the can. Now, I'm going to work on the previews, so I'm actually going to talk real football here. I think this matchup's going to come down to Brandon Marshall and LaShawn McCoy for my own team. They've been struggling for a couple weeks, and it's about time to break out. Otherwise, probably going to start sending out trade offers, LaShawn McCoy for Gio Bernard, straight up.
It's tempting.
No cash, no future trade picks, just straight up.
I got to tell you, I don't even know if is Marshall even able to walk on his ankle?
I mean, apparently he's got like a 4-week ankle injury from 2 weeks ago, retroactive. So
when you sprain an ankle, it just stays with you. To be honest, I'm not a big fan of his matchup. Atlanta has given up some yards, but
yep,
I think they'll shut him down.
Well, I'm kind of hoping for the 3-touchdown performance of a couple weeks ago.
As well, you should.
I mean, just get close and just throw it to him. I mean, I was watching the game last week, and it's like, oh, here's a touchdown to Martellus Bennett. Here's one to Forte. Oh, Alshon Jeffrey, you have one.
You should suggest that he uses 2 hands. Someone's got to tell that guy that he can catch with both hands. He doesn't have to use one.
I mean, I feel like that's a given, but, I mean, he's a professional, so...
Who are we?
And for Kyle, I feel like this matchup's really going to hinge on the Thomas brothers. The Denver Thomases, as I like to call them. Demarius and Julius. Julius? Julius?
Orange Julius.
Is it like Julio, but Julius?
I think so.
Or is it Orange Julius?
I'm not Hispanic.
Okay. Well, anyway, that's pretty much what it's going to come down to. If Demarius goes off again, Kyle could get his 3rd win in a row.
I don't know, based on looking at his team early on, if he wins 3 in a row.
We should all just quit, basically.
I don't know why we play. Did he beat me once?
It's a good question.
I don't think... No, he's never beat me.
Well, I mean, you only have 2 losses, and one of them was to me, so...
And I'm not ready emotionally to talk about the second one, so let's just move on.
We'll move on. Move on to 2-3 balls deep. Matt Ridgway. Now, this is going to be real hard. So, I might have to let Jason take over, but we'll see. So, Matt's going up against 2-3 Johnny Heismanzel. Now, Matt, it's been a tough week. You lost your 3rd round pick, which you took in the 1st round. Two rounds too early. I don't know. I was told there'd be no math on this show. So, I mean, Moneyball, was his best player besides Peyton, so that's saying a whole lot.
To be fair, I wish you had driven down with Matt Ridgway This kid beat himself up over Monty Ball more than anybody possibly, or really probably should.
Sure.
I understand it was important. My biggest concern this week was suicide watch for Matt.
Well, I mean, he did send like 6 trade offers in a span of 30 seconds to me and to Mario, was what I hear. It's just hearsay, but...
You're better than that, Rip.
I mean, we all thought, our truckload thought he was going to DeMarco Murray, for sure.
I can't even begin to explain to you how much he talked about it. He wanted it.
He must have wanted it real bad.
He wanted it. He wanted the balls.
He wanted to go balls deep, apparently.
He wanted to.
Money balls deep.
So is he going to change his name?
Yeah.
Balls less deep?
I mean, ball less? I mean, it's maybe? I don't know.
Just throwing it out there.
However, he's going up against the Johnny Heismanzel running attack of Lamar Miller, Justin Forsett, and Andre Williams. Now, I mean, these names they're not household names, but
they put up points.
They're producing.
I mean, I get that. My biggest concern is at what point when Johnny Manziel is never going to see the field.
Ever.
When do we make him change his name?
Well, I mean, apparently, air quotes, loosely, he's a big Texas A&M fan, so...
Oh, he's one of those guys that just found out they started winning a couple years ago?
Sure.
I bet he loves that Kenny Hill.
I feel like that's an Auburn joke pointed in my direction. Who? Kenny what?
I don't even know what the fuck War Eagle means.
Kenny football? I mean, he tries. Apparently.
How'd they do last week?
Not very good.
Jeez.
Okay. We're getting screwed by the old black screen.
Timing it out.
Now, Aero does have, he's going to get points from DeMarco Murray and Le'Veon Bell, but I really think that matchup's going to hinge on those 3 running backs that, they're going to get their touches. Just depends on what they're going to do with it.
Especially in this league, the way that we do things, it's those throw-in points. It's those guys that you don't expect to see every week that just seem to produce, and that's what really is one way or the other.
Mario knows exactly how Pierre Thomas feels. 23 points, wins the game. But let's move on. We got 2 and 3 all day, Zach. Nice name, whatever. Versus 2 and 3 redheaded stepchild. Now, Jason, this is going to be a very interesting matchup because each team has 1 Minnesota running back. Now, I'm not really sure how I feel about that because neither of them are named Adrian Peterson.
But neither one of them beats their kids that we know of.
Yeah, that we know of. So, it's going to be a very interesting matchup because I feel like this Jerick McKinnon is kind of, the media's playing him up. But I don't feel like either one's going to get that many carries or be that productive.
Well, one thing you got to remember is Detroit currently has one of the top defenses in the league. I think last time I heard him say last week that they had the number 1 defense in the league right now, especially when it comes to the rush.
Sure.
McKinnon, he's got the speed, but I don't think he has the power that Asiata has.
Okay.
Not to mention, when they're within 5 yards, Asiata gets it. Having said that, I just don't see either one of them having any major opportunities this week, but
sure.
What do I know?
Now, I feel like Dave kind of has the upper hand. We talked about the Minnesota-Atlanta matchup earlier. Matt Forte is just, he started off real well. He had a couple years where he was down, but, I mean, he's probably one of the better all-around backs in the league right now.
And I feel like a lot of his value would be tied if this was a PPR league. I think we need to do that next year, but that's just me.
PP league.
We'll explain it to Reggie later.
Yeah.
Points per reception, Matt. Okay. Anyway, but he had some rough games up until last week, and then he kind of turned it on, came out of nowhere, and was it 20, 30 points, something like that?
Yeah, it was a pretty good day.
Against Atlanta, I mean, their line's been all over the place. They give up a lot of yards, so I mean, he very likely could have a great game.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was going to talk about Cam Newton here, but I mean, Zach's team's pretty well.
Man, you cannot find a website that doesn't say sit Cam Newton.
Sit him.
I don't know if it's the rip or he's just not running, he's not scoring, his throws are off. I mean,
if he's not running...
Hey, if it tells you anything, my wife still starts him. Your cousin, my wife, she's redheaded.
I mean, you married her, so...
Well, we all know.
I feel like...
Lack of judgment sometimes.
I feel like just because the show, kind of doesn't go towards the wife helping the husband fantasy team, I feel like you could do it secretly and nobody would really know. Like, hey, don't start him. Just saying. I mean, how do you think Laura's doing so well in our family league?
It's got to be the husbands.
I mean,
I have no involvement with my wife's team in the family league.
none. Mario,
I in no way tell her, remind her to set her lineup.
Mario, I'm going to put you in charge of research. You need to, behind the scenes, let us get back to us.
Mario, I drove you down to the lake home. We're in some sort of driver-passenger privilege there, so
keep it quiet. All right, well, let's move on to. This could be one of the better matchups of the week. It's 3-2 Snit Squad versus the 4-1 Dongshank Redemption. Now, Brandon's team, he's one of the top 3 guys each year. He just bangs out wins, finishes top 3. Just can't quite get over in the playoffs.
So he's never won it.
No, he's never even been.
Has he ever thought about spending the time and researching his own players versus sending ridiculous trades?
No, he just wants your player.
Okay. Right.
He always has a good bench that he'll send you.
He'll send
you all of his bench for your best player.
I love injured players.
Who doesn't? They're coming back eventually, right? Now, I really feel like this matchup. It's pretty much already over because we're sitting here on a Friday night and it's past the Thursday game, where Scott had not one but 2 guys go for 30 points last night. He had Andrew Luck, that guy's going to be the top-rated quarterback all year. It's pretty much
number 1 point getter going into this week anyway.
Yeah. So he had Andrew Luck get 30. Foster's back. We all kind of laughed at Scott taking him 7th overall.
Not to mention when Eddie Lacy finally showed up. I can speak from firsthand, of course, because I got steamrolled by Scott last week. Really enjoyed the 50-point drubbing. But it's what happens when people finally show up.
It's all about when you play and who you play them. Now, it's only 2 guys, but Brandon's really got some tough matchups. He's got both Dallas Cowboys in. At this time, he could change it very well. But he has Dez Bryant and Terrence Williams going up against a tough Seattle defense at Seattle.
And as much as Seattle's the vaunted defense and the Boom Squad or Legion of Boom or whatever it is, they've been shown to show some cracks. Watch the San Diego tape. You know me, I watch lots of game film.
Sure.
I break it down for fantasy purposes. Really, I think Witten's going to be the one that sees the most targets there. Sure. Well, look what Antonio Gates did against them.
Yeah. They're definitely a different team at home as compared to on the road. So at home, they're pretty much unstoppable.
I don't see a lot of action for the Cowboys receivers, but especially not on the road.
No. However, if Brandon's team does, if those guys go off, it could end up being a close game.
And I think it'll be a high-scoring game if that happens. Because I think Scott's going to put up the points.
Oh, yeah.
And
could be another 100.
Brandon's got his work cut out. 150, whatever.
Now, see, I could see it really hinging on the Eagles' defense. Are they going to continue to get defensive touchdowns?
Just nonstop every week. But you know what? A lot of people don't realize the Giants, after week 3, have the number 2 offense in the league right now. They're just rolling,
They'll come back eventually. Brandon, keep your head up. 3-3 isn't that bad. It's 500.
Might make the playoffs. I don't know.
You'll be tied for last, but that's cool. Everybody does it.
It's a parody. There's a lot of parody in this league. I like it.
It's very parody.
Very, very parrot-y.
Parody. Let's move on.
All right.
We're going to come to your matchup here, Jason. The 3-2.
Can I just stop you right there?
Sure. Go.
I really hate T.Y. Hilton.
It's your show. Whatever, dude.
T.Y. Hilton. I hate you. You don't need to put up 28 points. Not when you're playing me. That's all I got to say about that. Or as my students say, Ty Hilton.
I heard a very interesting fact today that the T.Y. really has no meaning for his name. It's like Eugene Monroe Hilton is his real name. I don't know where
that makes no sense.
I don't know where the TY comes from, but
Because that's fun?
yeah, this is awesome. I feel like it's like TO, but it's cooler because it's T.
I'm not going to do it.
TY. No, you don't
Just,
have
I
to.
mean-
I mean,
Maybe if I wasn't playing it.
if you're gonna lose by 50, you might as well get some stretching in. But I guess let's actually talk about the matchup here. You got Niles Paul at the tight end, which based on your roster, it's really strong. But then you got is Jordan Reed going to come back this week? Are they going to split touches? Are they going to split percentage of time on the field?
Everything that I see, right now it sounds like Paul's going to get the majority of the targets. And when you've got a guy who's led the league led all tight ends in targets and yards and catches, and at one point he was even further ahead than Jimmy Graham. I mean, you got to take a chance on him, but of course he's recovering from a concussion. So honestly, my tight end position all year has just been flip a coin.
Sure. I mean that all happen. It's it's not an elite position. There's two guys. Otherwise, you just got to pick. Here, take a number. Oh, I got this guy. Sorry, this guy. Now, however, you do have Phillip Rivers, which, the last 2 years he's just been top 5. Here's 300 yards, 3 touchdowns.
And really, if you look at it, arguably the MVP of the year so far in the NFL.
So far.
But unfortunately, I've only started him twice.
Sure.
So
that really doesn't work out for you then.
Well, a couple weeks ago, I bet the farm on the Chargers against Jacksonville. Had their defense, had the quarterback, had 2 receivers.
You listened to Matthew Berry, didn't you?
Who's Matthew Berry?
You just like Ridgeway. You're just a rankings slave.
Or they played the Jaguars.
Oh. Who? The London Jaguars?
Jackson.
London? So, you got that going for you. They're going against the Raiders. So,
Now, they're pretty much awful, and they're one of the worst teams in the league.
They're garbage. So, you're going up against Brad, who's 2-3. Geez, you're bringing all sorts of friends to the show here.
We got props.
We got damn props. See, it's Marcus Allen from the future. But
Did you really go buy little kid shoes for this thing?
No, my grandmother made it for me.
Oh.
It is kind of cool because I actually wore this outfit for Halloween one year.
All right, that's less lame.
So you're going up against Brad. His team has been, it looks like garbage. And then he picks up Anthony.
Lightning in a bottle.
Anthony Smith. Now I feel like that guy personally I wouldn't touch. He's going to get 4 touches a game. What's he going to do with it?
Hey, that guy, I don't know if you watch a lot of Atlanta games, but if he sees about that much, he's gone. That guy's very, very quick. He hits the hole really hard, and he's got potential every time he touches the ball. You need to stop that.
You'd like me to move on?
Who we got next? Oh, it's Mark.
Finally, we're bringing up the rear with 3-2. I touched down there. Joe, I still haven't seen any kickback from that app yet, so I'm going to get a lawyer. I'm coming after you. You're going up against 2-3 Taste the Rainbow. Mario, Pierre Thomas. Just to backtrack a little bit, Pierre Thomas. I didn't even know who I was going to play last week. It was like 11:30. Who? Pierre Thomas. Whatever. 23 points. Wins.
He'll do that twice this year.
So I won't ever play him again. I just needed him to beat Mario and Jimmy Graham, who you traded. Stephen Ridley was good though, but he's one of the guys here that this matchup could hinge on.
I'm still trying to understand that trade, by the way. How did that work? Because he tried to trade me the same thing, when Brandon sends me stuff, I don't look at it. But,
sure, you just delete.
Yeah.
Delete.
How did that get by?
Well, Mario sent me a text message. It says, "Hey, would you do this trade?" And I said, "Well, maybe. Randall Cobb's going to get his. Jimmy Graham's been struggling a little bit." So then I get on the app site. Mario accepted it. And then, 15 minutes later, Brandon sends me a text. "Hey, cancel this trade. I didn't mean to send Jimmy Graham. You know I don't get trade raped."
But he attempts to trade rape?
But yes, he attempts. No one gets trade raped until they do, Brandon. So, then, I told him, I said, "Hey, last year I kind of got in some hot water with affecting the trades and outcomes. So I said, nope, I'm not going to do it.
And you couldn't help my team?
I said, Brandon, no, that was the guy we helped ourselves
naturally
by taking advantage of your
push up.
But it's a new generation. You're a new manager, so you're doing really well. You're tied for second. But we'll move on because it's a long story.
Anyway, yeah.
I didn't want to ruin two friendships. So, but Stephen Ridley, what Ridley are you going to get? Is he going to be the guy that
Fumble Ruski?
That guy, or is he going to get you 100 yards and a touchdown, which
where did he come from?
Shouldn't ever happen.
Well, let's be honest. The Patriots are not going to do what they did last week. Every week. Brady's old.
If we're being honest.
I mean,
honestly,
I think they're a bunch of hack jobs, but whatever.
I mean, I hate the Patriots ever since the Tuck rule, so you don't have to tell me twice.
Belichick's an idiot. No, he's not. I loved his. We're focused on Cincinnati.
We are focused on Cincinnati,
and they were very focused on.
They were on to Cincinnati. They knew what was coming. He's going up against Joe here, and I kind of questioned Joe. I said, "You're going to play Trent Richardson, and Ahmad Bradshaw." It was questionable, but he got a touchdown and 10 points out of both. So I mean, it could work out.
Throwing points we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm. It's 10 points out of two spots. You need those points. Now Mario has picked up Big Ben this week. I tried trading him Colin Kaepernick. I said, here, I'll give you a trade. I just need a guy 8-9 points a week, guaranteed. He goes, well, here's James Jones. I said, whoa. Now, I'm a Raiders fan, but James Jones, Mario, I'm going to need Noshawn at least. Because the injury risk counts for 4 to 5 points, so 13, 4 to 5 is close enough to 8.
You said no math.
Yeah, I can smell the brain cooking over here. So, with that, that was it. I mean, that was a preview.
That was actually a preview.
It was a preview.
We actually looked at players and stuff.
We did.
Not just make fun of each other's names.
We did research.
Or just Reggie's height.
Well, I mean,
you did research. I just showed up.
I don't really feel like making fun of Reggie's height is bashing. It's just kind of
there's probably support groups you could actually go for that.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Google it.
Support groups, little 3-foot, a footstool supports you, gets you up to our eye level. Anyway, Jason, thanks for showing up this week.
Absolutely, thanks for the invite. I'm glad that the new guy could step up when none of the veterans really feel like it or they have time.
Well, I mean, these guys they're all worried about their egos and their pride. They're like, oh, I'm not going on there. I mean, no, I'm too cool for that. Please, new guy.
Maybe they just don't have ties.
That's true. This show does have standards. You want to show up? You bring a tie. Speaking of, is that your Ridgeway tie?
I don't really know how to tie a tie.
Okay.
But Reggie could probably fit in it.
Sure. And with that, you guys have a good week. We'll see you next time. Later.